as we continue through 2024, goals that we may have started last month, we may not be hitting them anymore. But is it too late to jump back on that wagon? And also out in the oil field, how hard is it to actually work out on a daily basis while out in West Texas? We talked to an expert on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs, and if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
NAPE is a proud sponsor of the Crude Truth. Be sure to register for the NAPE Expo 2024, February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. Hurry and register today. NAPE, where deals happen.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry, committed to being good stewards of the environment and providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Oil and Gas Workers Association. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Well, good morning. Hello. Thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of The Crude Truth. I am here today and I'm just so excited that I've got on a guy that everybody knows that not one person has ever said a bad thing about, at least to my face, and probably to his either. Somebody that's been in the oil and gas industry for over a decade. Somebody that has also taught us how we can actually be out in West Texas and live a healthy lifestyle. I have on the man, the myth, the legend, Petrofit's own Nick Burns. Nick, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. I know we've been talking about it for a while, so I'm glad we're here.
I'm so glad. I know you and I've been trying to get, I'm not going to lie to everybody out there, I've been trying to get Nick on for probably about a year. And if not, it's at least 10 months. And you are just blowing and going. I mean, you are, if you're not in Houston, you're in West Texas, and you are working whenever you're traveling between Houston and West Texas, and of course, while you're at both locations, Nick. Nick, how are you doing? And what's going on your way? Hi.
Yeah, man, it's always busy, but dude, for me, if I'm not busy, I get very bored. So it's like, I got to stay busy, especially because I battle with PTSD, from the military. And if I'm not moving, mentally, I'm just not there. So I got to stay busy. But honestly, man, I think a lot of people, it's just, people do ask me, how do I do so much? Because then we're just talking about our veteran nonprofit that we're about to start, Warrior Ranch. Yeah. I mean, it's just time management. It's like I plan out my weeks on a Sunday. I got to know what I'm going to be doing, what I need to achieve, and I just start prioritizing. So,
man, you talk about that. Yeah, no, we had a meeting here at my office about that the other day. It's like we need to be more efficient about scheduling, and I think it's a mental thing because when we schedule, we actually have more free time.
Yeah, for sure.
And, but everybody thinks, oh, I'm stuck. Like I want my freedom and I want this. And it's like, well, I think making a schedule is actually being free to do more.
Yeah. Well, to your point, like, we kind of hit on it, your intro starting and stuff like that. A lot of people say they just don't have time. Right. Right. And I tell people, this is whoever's listening, if you think you don't have time, right, it's not making new time, right? It's optimizing the time that you do have. Right. So, and that's what people won't understand. It's you can't add time. You need to optimize the time, right? And I think once you sit down and audit your days, which we do, a lot of people do in our group, the first thing we do if they're struggling with time management is we audit their days and see what stays and what goes. And you'll find very quickly, man, that you got a lot of time. You just haven't written it down. So
Well, you say that, and you're absolutely right. It's like even if you followed, which I don't think we all do, and again, you're the expert, so correct me if I'm wrong. Even if
mm,
you followed the 8-hour workday and an 8-hour sleep cycle,
yeah,
that's 8 more hours a day that you still have to be productive.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you'd be surprised, 100%. I'm on calls all day, right? With people,
Right.
with clients, with new companies that want to come on board and veterans, and I just suck it up. I think a lot of people is just like, just man up and do it. Wake up early and get it done, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
up at 4 a.m. I hit the gym. I come back. I'm ready to work by 7, right?
Yep.
So,
That's
yeah,
the way to do it. I mean, I wish I could say I'm up every day at 4 a.m.
ain't
Um,
easy.
but
I'll tell you
but no,
that.
it's not easy.
Yeah.
But I tell you this, those days that I am up,
Mm.
I feel like I even got it's the truth. I got more accomplished,
Oh
and
yeah.
you feel like your day was actually full and productive.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
You set the standard, right? For
Yeah.
sure. You
Now,
set yourself up.
Nick, let's dial back a little bit for anybody out there that may not know you. Who is Nick Burns and what is Petrofit?
Yeah. So Petrofit was started, actually originated for Burn Fitness. You can see my logo there in the back. I was with Chevron, and I was first, let's back up actually. I was 6 years active duty Army. I was a combat engineer, so I did route clearance operations, demolition operations overseas. So we did 2 tours, finding IEDs. So that was no fun, but taught me some grit and discipline all along the way. Got out, went to school, and then got my education, and then hit the oil field and the oil industry, right? While I was working for Chevron, I was going out to the field a lot, talking to all the field offices. While I was out there, man, I just saw how unhealthy the industry. But I knew it was like that. Even if you're not in oil field, you're a company man or whatever it is, you're constantly traveling, or it's the client entertainment, or it's the alcohol at all the events, it's the golf tournaments. It's just an unhealthy industry,
Yeah.
right? I knew that, but once I went out to the field, I was like, man, these guys were really struggling. And so people just started asking me for help. And then eventually I was like, well, I'm gonna turn this into a good business model, right? And it was Burns Fitness, and then did really well. And then eventually did so well that I quit my job at Chevron and then went full time with Burns Fitness. And then we rebranded to Petrofit 2021, I believe. I know the years are all jumbled together. And then it just exploded. And then I think, we're the gold standard for health and wellness for oil industry now. Or at least I hope we are. We're getting there.
Well, I
So
mean,
that's
I don't think anybody doesn't know about you guys, and let's talk about that. It's like, so you are the standard. So what are you doing with some of these companies?
Yeah, I mean, we have companies come in that, we'll bring on, 10, 15 man field teams, office teams. We're trying to build camaraderie and competitiveness and grit and discipline and just be healthier teams, right? More
Right.
productive, right? Because you change your health and wellness, everything changes, right? You show up to work better, more mental clarity, less brain fog, you're less sick. I was 275 pounds at one point, before military, and changed my life. Obviously now I'm doing it for a living. So, I mean, but yeah, we
Right.
bring on companies and small teams, and just try to increase camaraderie that way. And we build up, we scale up, or we have like our one-on-one offer. Obviously, anyone could come in. Doesn't matter if you're a lawyer in oil and gas, or an accountant, or a superintendent, or, a landman. And, it's just, we customize everything around the person.
Okay.
you know,
And
and
and,
the
and so when
lifestyle.
you talk about, you go in and you're working now, is it just with the oil field that you're doing this, or are you also going into the offices and helping them out as well, and creating programs for those guys?
Yeah, both. We don't do one-on-one training, right? We do everything online, right? So that's how we're able to help more scale more people, because I think it's better for this industry because they're so on the go, and you can't go to a trainer, because you're in the field or you're traveling. And so this model's better because we can help more people on their time, rather than go to a trainer and you're on their time, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to do. So but yeah, we bring in companies, we depend on where they're located, but we'll do some face-to-face stuff, but it's all online for sure. Yeah.
Well, I do know that online is obviously where it's more convenient these days. I mean, everything's now on an app for the most part, and
Yeah.
and especially when you're out in the field. I mean, you're out there all the time, and I remember when I was out there, I mean, obviously, especially back in the what is it, like 2000, back there in the boom of 2011, right before
Mhm.
12, 13, 14. I mean, it's Wild West out there. I mean, it's definitely more strenuous than it is now. And
Yeah.
but I mean, we were eating, junk food all day during the day,
Yeah.
sodas all day.
Yeah.
And then you had the company guys in that one, and they were just cooking up a storm.
Yeah.
Basically, and don't get me wrong, I love a good steak and baked potato, but
Yeah.
when you're out there making that company money, hey, you're having steak and potato every
Yeah, you
night,
have it.
and
And that's the thing too. I mean, people are surprised. We say, dude, eat it, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's the lifestyle of it. Let's just give you more structure with it,
yeah,
right? Because this is like alcohol industry. So I tell a Derek can or a field guy, whatever it is, that they can't drink, what are they going to do?
yeah,
They're going to go drink like a fish, right?
yeah,
It's like, okay, good drink, but let's hit these habits and these non-negotiables first, so you're remaining metabolic, and then go have a couple beers, right?
right,
But that's the lifestyle pieces. As soon as you take something out, people will fiend for it, and once they have it, they'll binge on it, and it's just that diet cycle of death, right? So
yeah.
you got to have the tacos and the barbecue that they're on
Oh yeah.
site, right? It's just what are our boundaries, right?
Right. And people said them, I got to give a shout out to my brother, because he's a vegetarian and he just got back from being out in the oil field for about 3 years, and he
It's tough.
lived his lifestyle out there. I mean, he did it.
Vegetarian in the oil field. That's rough.
Yes, and he did it,
Kudos to him.
and like I was sharing with you beforehand, he's a
Mm.
long distance runner. So I
Yeah.
even got a phone call one time from a buddy of mine going, "I just saw your brother running on Leafs Road, this over there by Purple Caddock." I was like, "No, you didn't." He goes, "Yes," and
Yeah.
so you said it's structure and lifestyle, and it's
Big.
I think that's key.
Mm.
And something else I want to share with everybody out there that you shared, is I loved your holiday. Here we are, we're recording here after 2023. But one
Mm.
of your tips for the holiday was, hey, you're gonna have tons of holiday parties to go to,
Yeah.
tons of good food. Before you go out, down a poaching drink so you don't eat as much at these get-togethers. And I thought that's actually very genius, because obviously if you
Yeah.
work out, you use them as meal replacements. And this
Mhm.
way, it's a way to not seduce your appetite, but a way to fill you up in a healthy way without having to eat all the good snacks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like your time you go out and for you're taking a lunch out or a client out for dinner. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna have one beer, right? But then it turns into six, and you're having appetizers and all this other. It's just a downward spiral, right? So
Right.
it's more, let's come into it already satiated, right,
Yeah.
and already metabolically tuned, and then you're not going to do that as near as much, or if at all, right? So it's just
Yeah.
about having a plan, It's just the same process we teach for a big dinner or a big party or Thanksgiving or whatever it is, a
Yeah.
holiday. It's just get your workout in, remain metabolic, get your water, get your protein, go into it, and you're just like, man, I don't need all this stuff, right?
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. Metabolically tuned. I'm gonna have to start using that. Like, now I'm metabolically tuned. I'm good.
Metabolically, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you're metabolically tuned, right? It's just like, and that's the thing, man. I'm telling you, 99.9% of people come, just aren't eating enough, hands
Yeah.
down, right? You eat too much, you gain weight. You eat too less, you'll gain weight. So we have to find that balance, right? And most people are just under eating, and metabolism is just
Sure.
gone, right?
Yes.
And
I
then
know, again, I am definitely not a specimen of Petrofit. And so, I mean,
gotta
sometimes
get
I
you.
can tell I won't eat
Yeah,
breakfast, and then I'll eat a huge lunch, and then you eat a huge dinner.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
We
just
gotta
that
get
whole,
RT ripped. Everyone
no, no, no,
watching this, do a vote for RT getting ripped.
no, no, no.
The
I
ripped
think I have a
RT.
better.
There we go.
Maybe what we need to do is get one of those. Remember how J.P. Warren and Keith Stelter years ago like shaved their heads for the end
Yeah,
of the year for
yeah,
the. Maybe we need to find a couple of guys like, all right, who gets the rip by the end of the year? Like,
yeah,
we'll get a
for
couple
sure.
of your guys, and we'll raise money for them.
Yeah, dude, you just started it. There we go.
There.
There we go.
Hey, Nick. Okay, you are. You've got Petrofit, and you briefly mentioned now that you are looking to give back. And again, I should have highlighted in the beginning. I apologize. Thank you for your service, for defending our
Yeah,
country and our freedoms here, to eat unhealthy or eat healthy. So thank you
yeah,
for that, man, and for your sacrifice. Now you're giving back to others with the Warrior Ranch, which is a nonprofit. Let's talk about that a little bit and what all you're doing, because I'm really excited about this.
Dude, so am I. It's going to be great, especially for West Texas. The veterans out here in West Texas, anywhere in Texas, I mean, anyone comes in, but the point of it is to bring combat PTSD veterans out and, have a mental recalibration almost, right? It's you go from a very hustle environment, a lot of structure, to civilian world, which is most people struggle with. It just stops, right? So instead, we're helping the transition veteran or the person having trouble transition, give them a very structured 21-day program, and we'll take them out to the ranch. So it's a 1,000-acre ranch. There's a home on it with sleeping quarters, and we're going to teach them the ins and outs of working ranch. So fixing fences, working cattle. We're going to equestrian horse therapy as well. They get paired up with a horse. And then, we'll have, it's almost yellow. There's a TV show. I forgot the TV show's name, but it's like Who Wants to Be a Cowboy or something. But like, we'll teach them the methods of that. But it's grit and grind, right? Because it's not easy doing that role, right? So it's the grit and grind, and then we want to place them with Border Patrol or get them into the oil field, right? It's a good transition, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, man, either places, God knows we can use good men and women right now, is at the border and out in the oil field. I mean, either way, you're serving America.
Yeah, you can't beat a combat vet or a Green Beret out there on horseback, right?
Ooh,
Protecting our border. That's
man.
you how to ride and become a cowboy, and they can also do that. It's pretty good.
Right? Man, you talk about the horses, and there's such and let's, because I'm pretty sure everybody thinks, you're not just doing riding with the horses, are you? There's more to what I understand, there's more to being around a horse than just saddling up and going. Is that correct?
Equestrian therapy is a real thing, right? That's not new, but the connection you have with an animal is different, right? And an animal that you're using for work, you're seeing every day, you're right. It's a connection that you build, right? We hope to get some good sponsors and donations where we can actually, the veteran comes through and they get paired with the horse, and they can keep the horse if they have the means to do that. Yeah. Which would be massive, because then they have their own horse. It's their buddy. It's like their dog, right? It's the same thing, and that in itself is a huge mental, just regrounding for them, right? I think they need something like that. And then obviously, if we have connections with the bigger ranches out here in West Texas as well, and they want to be a ranch hand, we'll place them there, or they want to continue down that road with Border Patrol, or obviously where we're at in West Texas, they get into the oil field pretty easily. So.
Golly, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you kind of expanded on that, because I've heard that, and I just wanted everybody else out there to know that it's like, what I picture is that connection is in the old Clint Eastwood, John Wayne movies, where you see the horse stand by him, or when he's about to be hung, it's like the horse actually doesn't move, because like, no, I got your back on this, and plus the responsibility is no joke. You gotta brush him, like you said, it's really like a dog, and that connection is great.
And we're doing other practices, just like cold therapy, mindset, whole food eating. I mean, it's a cleanse, right? It's a full cleanse. Great transition to get out there to get that grit and grind back in their life that they were missing, right? And then transition them to a role that's pretty grit and grind, right? Oil field and Border Patrol. We can't get much more gritty than that.
No. Nick, as we continue on in 2024, I want to kind of hear in my teaser. It's like we're now into 2024. People have probably spent the first 3 or 4 weeks of the year doing whatever their workout was, and now they may be on the verge of like, what, I'm done, or they've already given up. What can you say to those guys out there, and women that are like, we can get back on the horse, so to speak, right, Nick?
Yeah, for sure. I look at it from 3 different perspectives. One is mindset, right? I think most people come into it and it's an all or nothing type thing. I want to get fit. I'm all in, right? This is it. This is my year. And they're super high speed, and they go into it just all or nothing. And that's usually what leads to failure, because they do too much. Right.
Right.
And so first I would look at that. If you're in that mentality, you need to take a step back, right? Focus on small wins, getting motivation quickly, building discipline and habits first, right? Getting the wins and building and scaling on that, right?
Right.
And secondly, it's like I talked about it, my consistency looks different from your consistency, right? Like
Yes.
goals, different lifestyles, it's you need to sit down and be like, okay, what am I inconsistent with? Right. And then reverse engineer it. If
Yeah.
it's food, it's like, okay, well, how do I get more structure on my food? What habits do I need to employ? How can I better plan? So we just look at the big goal of losing weight, right?
Yeah.
And if it was just a workout nutrition plan that solved all our problems, we'd all have six packs. Right?
Yeah.
Clearly, it's not the case, right? So you got to go down to routine and lifestyle and figure out what fits that, right? You fix the root cause, right? Which is a lot of it's mindset and lifestyle integration issues, like fad diets that are out there that don't fit lifestyles and habits. But you never fix that. You're never going to keep the weight off, right? It's like the weight loss is the reward when you fix everything else. So that's what people need to think about.
I love it, Nick. Well, Nick, for those out there that again that haven't heard of you, how can they reach out to you and contact you and Petrofit?
Yeah, you can go to petrofittraining.com. I'm on social media. I'm all over it. It's probably you see my face a lot over there. Or you can just reach out to me at nick@petrofit.info.
Okay, Nick at petrofitinfo.com.
Yep. Or okay. Petrofit.info.
Petrofit.info. Nick at petrofit.info.
Yes, sir. Or just reach out to RT here. He can get you connected.
Definitely, I can reach out. Yes, I mean, and and just on a personal note, I had such a great time hanging out with you at that Houston, Texas game back last month. That was such a great time, and you were just so chill. And because we walked that whole damn stadium just to get to our place. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, okay, well, let's go over here. Let's go try over here. And I mean, you're just chill about it. I mean, you're just, you remind me not remind me, you are a great example of the 3 C's, cool, calm, and collected. And now, of course, I haven't seen you with your son, after he knocked you in the nose, but no, I'm joking. But no, Nick, I just, to everybody out there, if you haven't met Nick, it is worth a conversation and a handshake to meet him. He is definitely one of the good ones, as people would say. Nick, I cannot thank you enough for your time today.
Yeah, dude, I love what you're doing with this podcast and this industry too. You're telling the truth, right? And the crude truth is real. And I'll listen to every episode, man. You're doing great things, man. I love it.
Thank you, Nick. But my goal is of the show is just to get out there, because the crude truth is you can be out there for 45 days and live a healthy lifestyle. I'm just like, you got nobody else but yourself out there. Do it. That's the crude truth.
Yeah. I love that. That's the crude truth. That's totally right. I mean, they blend well together for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using that.
Nick, again, I cannot thank you enough for finally coming on. And obviously, I got to get you back on, and we're going to get you in studio at some point. So again, for those of y'all out there that are looking to continue your success for 2024, or are looking to start that success and have that epic 2024, so that on January 1st, 2025, you're like, damn, it was a good year. Reach out to Nick at Petrofit. And to all our listeners out there, thank you. And we'll see you again on another episode of The Crude Truth.
Again, thank you to our sponsors, LFS Chemistry, NAPE Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Exec Crew, Oil and Gas Workers Association, Pecos Country Operating.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.